Yo everyone, welcome back to another Sunday, which means another 5 Metas Every Pro Should Know video. Today we're tackling Canada. Canada, a country which is absolutely massive, and also, there's very limited coverage overall despite its massiveness. Pretty much only, obviously, in the big population centers and on some random northern main roads. But other than that, it's pretty much going to be mostly concentrated towards the US border. So I do have some metas for you today, especially because it is so big horizontally. Um, there is a lot of points to be had in this country, and just going over some basic metas today. Not as much advanced, more in-depth metas, and just more basic ones that can help you potentially get the area down. So hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I will see you guys at the end. All right, everyone. The first thing that we're going to be talking about today is a very basic one. This is going to be the Drumheller treeless rock formations. So Drumheller in the province of Alberta, just northeast of Calgary. Pretty big city here. But around the city of Drumheller, you're going to get a lot of treeless rock formations. So a lot of just random rocks popping out of the ground, but like basically with no trees on them when the coverage is taken. Like you're gonna get massive mountains like this. Like this kind of looks like, I don't know, you could mistake this for somewhere in the US. But if you know you're in Canada, then Drumheller is always a good place to guess with monolithic, I wouldn't say super monolithic, but very huge mountains and just no trees on them at all. Very barren looking rock mountains. And this is pretty much found like all around it. Like you'll see trees growing in front here, but not as many trees like growing on top of the rocks and stuff. I'm not sure if it's because it's not very like, I don't know, the soil's not very good on top of the rocks or whatever. But yeah, you can see them pretty much throughout. It is more of a niche one. You're not going to get Drumheller too often, but when you do, it's pretty easy to simply just line up a road and just know exactly what you're looking at, as long as you can identify a little Canada over the US here. And here's a sign. They use meters, of course, whereas in the US they would use feet. So good way to distinguish. Like I look at this round, look around, see that it says 500 meters on here, and then I know I'm in Canada. And then I know exactly where to click because we have these huge mountains with no trees on them. I'm getting the feeling that you're not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please do, and please drop me a like on the video. It'd really help me out. Thanks, everyone. Hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, we're going to be going over two, I would say, botany metas today. More about the flora in this one. So we're going to be talking about balsam firs first. These are found pretty much like all of Northeast, but are especially common here in Newfie. So Newfie is going to get a lot of these, like, I guess you can compare them to the Christmas trees that you would have in your houses as kids. Kind of stout in general. They can grow to get bigger, but there are very like stout ones like this and kind of just shaped like a Christmas tree where it's like a cone shape in a way. And they're found everywhere. Like these are a bit taller ones. Here's a really good example, just like some balsam firs growing on the side of the road here. And just a huge forest of them. So you'll see this spam like pretty much everywhere you look. Like even on the other side here, you can get some balsam firs like here. And they're everywhere in Newfie. So like you can see it here near St. John's. This is south. I mean, just everywhere on the island. If you see spam like this, like with big hills, obviously the telltale signs for Newfie. This one, I mean, it's a bit of a tougher round, I would say. Like, not necessarily Newfie. You can look around, see no front plate. Good indication for Newfie, but like with these trees and stuff. And, this is a bit of a harder Newfie. A lot of the Gen 3 is like late autumn coverage as well in October. So be on the lookout for that. And you get these as well a lot. So a couple hints for Newfie. I think the balsam firs are very helpful, and they're really good for you to distinguish Newfie as opposed to the other Canadian provinces. And then we'll move over to the nice province of Manitoba. First, some Manitoba aspens. So these are pretty much found on most of the northern forested roads throughout Manitoba here. So a lot of these roads will just have like trees that kind of resemble birches in a way with the white bark, but they will be like aspen trees. And a lot of the coverage, rather it be in Gen 3 or Gen 4, it's going to be a lot of autumn coverage. But yeah, you'll get a ton of aspens, especially on like these northern roads. So I would say the 6 is pretty recognizable. Here's an aspen cluster there. And another one, I mean, this is actually in June, so right in spring, but you can still tell it's aspens just based off of that tree bark there. And here's another one in August, so also in summer. And this one is in October. So variety of coverage. You will get a lot of autumn coverage, but, you know, some mixtures of summer coverage as well in there. So definitely be on the lookout for aspens because they're a great clue for Manitoba in general. All right, if you're like me, you're really bad at Yukon, especially Yukon and Alaska. Like, I feel like those two, I'm quite terrible at. And, you know, Yukon did only have Gen 2, but now they do have some Gen 4. But I'm going to share with you a couple of metas to get certain sections of Yukon that will be easier to identify using these. So the top of the world highway, pretty distinct, I would say. You get this, like, especially down here near the Alaskan border, very high up, very treeless. You get these like red, yellow colors here. I mean, this is a pretty easy top of the highway road here. As you move further down, you will get like an overcast, Gen 2. Sometimes you can see this antenna, I guess, and just like very, very high up, you can say. Just by altitude, you can tell that we're quite high up, and you're going to get a foggy blur a lot of the time, which is usually shown on the front of the cam. Here you can't see it as much, like a smudge, I guess, is probably the best word for it, but you do get that smudge like on the eastern part of the top of the world highway, which is like here, and west of Dawson City here, you'll get this smudge as well. I guess it clears up like around here, like as you're making this turn to go southwest. But yeah, you'll get the smudge as well. So this is a pretty recognizable one because you are driving extremely high up into the mountains, and you get some like very nice colors as well on the side of the road, as this is taken in August. So just about encroaching on a little bit of fall, but very recognizable highway, especially with the Gen 2. So be on the lookout for that. All right, and then we got Dempster Highway, which is this road here going through Tombstone and then up all the way through Fort McPherson up to Inuvik. So the Tombstone Road will have similar colors to the top of the world highway, but we're driving in a valley here because, you know, it's obviously easier to drive build the road in the valley. But you do get these pretty, like, very yellow colors here. Once also taken in August 2009, but it's also going to be Gen 3. And then once you get out of Tombstone from here, you're driving in the valley, and here it's a little bit more elevated, but you're kind of going through the mountains here. You get a lot of these yellow trees here. And then as you move further up, especially with the road angle, quite easy to line up. You can take a look at this yourself. It starts to flatten out once you get past like Eagle Plains. A little bit more flat here. I mean, we're through the mountains, but like you're not seeing as big mountains, a little bit more flat. And then past Fort McPherson, it's extremely flat. So, yeah, you can tell we're just on, I mean, I wouldn't say sea level, but it looks like we're 59 meters up. But definitely like very flat, and you can't really see too many mountains around you. So this is a very recognizable road northeast of Fort McPherson, just because you're going to get these yellow colors with very, very short trees. But it is pretty flat. I mean, as you get towards Inuvik, you get a little bit of elevation change here, but it's still really flat, and the tree line is very short. So definitely a couple of recognizable roads, and I would encourage you to look at all three of these when you get the chance. And the last one here is going to be the Beaver Creek Bikers. So this is on the 1, northwest of Haines Junction here in Yukon. And once you pass like this bend here, northwest of Koidern, you're going to get to see bikers in the front of you. Taken in July 2009. You'll see this biker gang pretty much the entire way in front of you. They can be pretty far away in some instances, but other times we're pretty much just trailing them the entire way throughout the coverage. So this is a good indication we're on the 1, and you should always guess like, I guess, northwest of this, because this is where I guess they're going around this RV, and I guess we do as well eventually in the Google car. So basically, like just south of Dry Creek is good, and then they disappear once you get up into Beaver Creek, pretty much, and they drive off into the distance. We finally get lost by them because, like, as you're up here, you won't really see anything to the north. They're pretty much gone there. Let's click a little bit closer to Beaver Creek. Can't really see them as much. So I don't know. They might have went to like a rest stop or something, but not there anymore. So it's pretty much this like very small stretch, but they are there. So very useful tip for getting the one road here, and you can get a nice guess down because it is such an isolated road from like most of the other coverage in Yukon. All right, next we're going to be talking about a couple of distinct roads here that I usually do get in like duels and stuff, or if I'm playing like solo. It's pretty easy to recognize because Gaspé Peninsula now, which is this section like east of Quebec City, that stretches out north of New Brunswick. These two roads here, the 132 is Gen 4. This road, 198, is also Gen 4. But for some reason, for some odd reason, the 299 road, which also goes north-south pretty much, is Gen 4 for like up to here, I guess. It's like very, I don't know, it's very weird. Like this is Gen 3 here. This is Gen 4. So it stops at some point for some reason, which I find odd. That it just randomly stops, but it's Gen 4 like as you go through this national park, and then it turns into a lot of Gen 3 as you're moving through like everything here down the 299. And I guess that just ends once you get to, I don't know, the coast here, it looks like, because this is going to be Gen 4 new coverage, but as you're on this road, still Gen 3 for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if they haven't released the coverage yet. I don't know if this is going to be still relevant later, but the 299 Gen 3, there's going to be a ton of overcast ness, I guess, on this road. So Gen 3 overcast, as you can see on the 198, it's like kind of cloudy, but it's not as gray, and it's Gen 4. So like, if you see Gen 3 overcast like this, very hilly, there's a good chance you're on this south section of the 299 because it's overcast pretty much the entire way as you're going down it. And it's very gray, very dark clouds in the sky, but you do get some huge mountains like this. So this is a very useful tool for getting this road. And you can just line up the angle, and you can get a nice guess down because, yeah, it's definitely very helpful, and it's a very recognizable Gen 3 road. All right, and the other road that we're going to talk about is in Newfoundland, Labrador here. So this is going to be this road, the 500 and the 510, which is east of Labrador City, going to Happy Valley Goose Bay. So this road is going to feature sometimes an exposed front car, but it's going to be like that white-blue striped car that you typically see. Let's see if we can get a better view here. This is a good view. Not exposed front, but you can see the white on the front of the car. And that's a good indication that you're in Happy Valley Goose Bay. And this road is like very recognizable because you're going to get like pine spam on both sides of the road, but yet the tree line is quite short. And you're going to obviously always be driving pretty much east to west in general. So yeah, you can just see pine spam everywhere throughout this road. And yeah, you get that car, which is super recognizable. Once you've seen it once or twice, it's a pretty recognizable road and pretty easy to get, I would say, because there's not too much coverage that's going to look like that. Everything in the Plain States is going to be quite different. So if we look at this Sask road, like this is heavily forested, and you know, this looks like, I guess, a little bit more swampy, a little bit more just high up there. And it kind of looks like Newfie, but very recognizable road with the car and everything, and the sun will always be like quite low in the sky as well. So that's one thing to look for, like the sun will always be shining pretty low. So yeah, all recognizable things here, and should help you get this road in the near future. All right, the last thing that we're going to talk about is a pretty basic meta. I would say most people probably do know this one. But I thought I would just cover it because it's definitely quite useful. So Quebec is going to be like the only Canadian province without the checkerboard on the outside of the signs. So like in Ontario, you will get that normal checkerboard on the outside that you usually see, but in Quebec, you're not going to get any checkerboard. And these T intersection signs are usually found near like with road signs as well. So it might not be super useful, but you do know you're in Quebec in general. Like this one, no road sign, and you might not know you're in Quebec unless you look at that sign. But yeah, this is pretty helpful, I would say, in general, because they're not going to have the checkerboard, and that's what you should look for. And it's a good indication that you're in Quebec without the checkerboard. All right, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of 5 metas every pro should know Canada. Canada's a little dry in terms of metas, I would say. It's a lot of road knowing, road learning, landscape learning. So not as meta heavy as some of the other countries are, I would say, because we don't have stuff to rely on like car smudges. I'm sure there's a smudge meta, but like car mainly, etc. For most of these other countries. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, and I'll see you guys next Sunday for another 5 metas every pro should know video. Peace.